third principle for applying behavioural science is slightly different. And this is an idea called make it easy. And it draws a lot on the work of this man, Daniel Kahneman. So he won the Nobel Prize for Economics back in 2002. And in a recent interview, he said, looking back on his illustrious 50-year career of running behavioural science experiments, he said the single biggest thing that he had learned is that it was often far more effective to change behaviour by making that behaviour easy. That was far more effective than making that behaviour desirable. That often ease trumps motivation. Now, just because someone says it, we don't have to necessarily believe that claim. One of the things I love about behavioural science is however illustrious an academic is, they are never taken on their word alone. Everything has to be proved experimentally. But there is plenty of experimental evidence behind this idea that small bits of friction can have an outsized effect on people's behaviour. Now, the study I want to show you comes from two American psychologists, Bergman and Rogers. And it was a study they ran in 2017 with the Department of Education. And the Department of Education had launched a new service. As a parent, you could sign up and you would be texted information to help you encourage your children to work harder. Bergman and Rogers persuaded the department to launch this in one of three ways. The first way was what they called the standard way, which was quite difficult to sign up. They texted a random group of parents information about why the service was amazing. And then they told them if they wanted to sign up to click on a link in the text message. That took them through to a web form. And then that web form took about 90 seconds to fill in. And in that scenario, 1%, just 1% of people signed up. Next scenario, what they called the simplified version, they texted another group of random parents exactly the same content, but this time there was no need to fill in any form to enroll. All you had to do was text back the word start. And in that scenario, 8% of people signed up. Then the final scenario, pre-GDPR scenario, the auto-enrollment scenario, they texted another group of parents the same information about the content. But this time they said you are enrolled if you don't want to be text back the word stop. And in that group, 96% of people signed up. So just as Kahneman argues, these small added bits of friction have an outsized effect on people's behaviour. There is a 95 percentage point swing in behaviour based on how hard or easy it is to sign up for the service. But that was just the first part of the experiment. The second part of the experiment is the clever bit. The psychologists then go and recruit experts in education, professionals, teachers, academics, policymakers. And they say to all those experts in education, what do you think the sign-up rates will be in each scenario? They describe each of the different scenarios and then ask people to predict what will happen. Those experts aren't stupid. They know very well that little bits of friction will put people off. So they get the direction of change right. But they are wildly wrong in terms of the scale of the impact of those small barriers. So they estimate that 38% of people will sign up in the standard, difficult to sign up version, 44 in the simplified, 66 in the auto-enrollment version. So those experts think there will be a 28 percentage point swing in behaviour based on friction levels. Whereas remember, in reality, it was a 95 percentage point swing in behaviour. Bergman and Rogers argue that these teachers are typical. That again and again, when people are estimating what will affect consumers, they think it will be around the appeal of the content how motivated that audience are to partake in the program. What people do, though, is overemphasize that motivation part. And again, they underestimate the importance of friction. They underestimate how many people will be put off by these small barriers. So Bergman and Rogers argue, well, if that is the case, what tends to happen is most organizations put too much emphasis on motivating people, too little emphasis on making the desired behavior as easy as possible. So the implication of this finding from behavioral science is to go through your customer journey and identify even the smallest bits of friction and put greater efforts to removing those little barriers. And if you do, it will probably have a bigger than expected effect.